Okay, let's say you did something stupid. Maybe you were feeling confident. Maybe you were having a really good day. Maybe someone told you that Doctor Doom was actually beatable, and you believed them. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. You have somehow, through a breathtaking combination of bravery and poor judgment, decided to pick a fight with Victor Von Doom. And I want to be completely honest with you right now. You're going to regret this. But here's the thing, and this is what makes it so uniquely horrible. It's going to start out feeling almost reasonable because, at first glance, Victor Von Doom is technically, biologically, a human being. He doesn't have the Hulk's gamma-irradiated muscle mass. He wasn't born a god on an alien realm. He's not a cosmic entity made of pure destruction. He is a man, one man, from a small fictional Eastern European country called Latveria. See? Doesn't sound too bad. Now let me explain exactly how wrong you are. Victor Von Doom grew up in Latveria under circumstances that should have broken him completely. His mother, Cynthia, made a deal with Mephisto, Marvel's resident demonic overlord, and it did not go well for her. His father, Werner, was a healer who died trying to protect his son from the cold. Victor grew up poor, furious, and brilliant beyond anything the world around him could measure or contain. And rather than becoming someone who used that pain to find peace, Victor used it to fuel something else entirely. He decided he would be better than everyone. Not just better, better than everyone. Better than kings, better than gods, better than destiny itself. And then he went and actually tried to do it. By the time he landed a scholarship to State University in New York, Victor was already operating at a level that made most geniuses look like they were still learning their times tables. And then he met Reed Richards. Reed Richards, who had the audacity to be nearly as intelligent as Victor. Reed Richards, who had the nerve to exist and be good at things. Victor did not take this well. In the comics, Victor attempted to build a machine capable of contacting his dead mother's soul in another dimension. The machine malfunctioned. Victor's face was scarred, and rather than accept that he had made a calculation error, Victor's pride pushed him towards blaming Reed. He blamed the machine. He blamed everything except the one thing his pride would not let him blame. Then he traveled to Tibet, studied under a group of monks, had them build him a suit of armor, and placed the still hot iron mask over his already wounded face. Not because he had to, but because, psychologically speaking, Victor Von Doom needed the world to see something other than the man underneath. He went back to Latveria, overthrew its ruler, and announced, more or less, that Dr. Doom had arrived. Doom doesn't think of himself as a villain. He thinks of himself as the only person qualified to run things properly. A villain who wants chaos has an endgame. Doom's endgame is everything. So here you are. You've decided to fight him. And your first thought is probably, okay, it's armor. I've dealt with armor before. Let me stop you right there. Doom's armor is not armor the way a knight in a museum wears armor. Doom's armor is a fully operational weapons platform that happens to be shaped like a person. It's built from a steel alloy reinforced with technologies that most of Earth's governments haven't even theorized yet. It has force fields layered over the physical plating, meaning that even if you somehow hit him hard enough to dent the metal, you first have to get through an energy barrier designed to absorb and redistribute force. You finally managed to get close enough to punch him. Congratulations. You have just discovered that punching Dr. Doom is basically the Marvel equivalent of punching a tank. If the tank could also punch you back with energy blasts, fly away, and then calculate the exact force you used against it for future reference. The suit has built-in energy weapons. It can fly. It has life support systems, meaning you cannot simply wait him out in a space vacuum or drag him out somewhere without oxygen. His boot jets give him aerial mobility. His gauntlets can fire concentrated blasts. And the thing about Doom's armor that people don't talk about enough, it was built by the same brain that's wearing it. Every defensive action, every offensive capability, every upgrade, Victor designed it. He knows every inch of it. He knows its limits and he knows your limits, and he built the suit accordingly. You're not fighting a man in armor. You're fighting a man who is the armor, because he thought of every possible way someone like you might attack, and then built a machine to make sure it wouldn't work. But let's say you get lucky. Let's say you actually land a clean hit. The figure goes down. The green cape hits the floor. You stand there, breathing hard, feeling something dangerously close to hope. And then your phone rings. Or someone in an earpiece says the words you never want to hear. We found Doom. He's been in his throne room this entire time. Allow me to introduce you to the Doombots. Doom has created robotic duplicates of himself, exact replicas, armored, programmed to fight with the same tactics, the same aggression, the same particular brand of dramatic arrogance that makes Victor so unbearable to deal with in person. He deploys them as soldiers, as decoys, as guards, as infiltrators, and the really cruel part, they believe they're the real Doom. Not metaphorically. Some versions of the Doombots are programmed with such thorough personality emulation that they will insist, even while being dismantled, that they are the true and legitimate ruler of Latveria, which means you might spend 10 minutes of absolutely exhausting combat defeating someone who is performing full Victor Von Doom convincingly, only to rip the mask off and find wires. You don't know. You will never know. And that question alone is enough to destroy you. Doom doesn't have to be present to exhaust you. He's designed the entire experience so that just finding him is already half of the battle. Okay, so you've survived the armor, real or fake. You've started forming a counter strategy. You're feeling marginally better about your life choices. Here's where it gets ugly. Doom is watching you work, because Victor's most dangerous weapon isn't the suit. It isn't the robots. It isn't any single piece of technology in his arsenal. It's the brain running all of it. Doom is one of the most intelligent characters in all of Marvel Comics. We're talking mastery of advanced physics, robotics, engineering, genetics, energy, technology, dimensional science, fields that most geniuses spend their entire lives specializing in just one of. Doom has built time machines. He has designed weapons that can threaten cosmic entities. He has developed dimensional travel technology in the same brain, at the same time, while also running a country. Against a normal villain, figuring out their weakness is useful. Against Doom, discovering his weakness may just tell Victor what you're going to try next. He studies patterns. He studies you. The longer the fight goes on, the more data he's collecting, the way you move, the limits of your powers, the moments you hesitate. Every mistake you make in front of Victor Von Doom is a lesson he's filing away for later, and later is going to be so much worse than right now. The longer you fight Doctor Doom, the more dangerous he becomes. Now, you've adjusted. You've found a technological counter. You've started to believe, genuinely and sincerely believe, that maybe, you can beat this guy on a science versus science level. I have some news. Doom is also a sorcerer. Take a moment. Process that. He didn't just study the mystic arts as a hobby, the way some people casually pick up guitar and then abandon it after 3 weeks. Victor Von Doom went to Tibet, trained under actual monks, and came back with a meaningful mastery of magical knowledge that Marvel's official material describes as placing him among the most accomplished sorcerers in the multiverse. Not Earth sorcerers, the multiverses. He has knowledge of occult forces. He can cast spells. He has interacted with and on occasion dominated supernatural entities that would make most people's sanity pack its bags and leave permanently. In the comics, Marvel's own guides note that Doom found the Darkhold, an ancient book of occult knowledge connected to Chthon, one of Marvel's oldest and most terrifying demonic forces. A text so dangerous that simply reading it tends to corrupt and destroy people who aren't prepared for what's inside. Doom found it, read it, and presumably took notes. To be clear, we're talking about the comics here. The MCU hasn't confirmed exactly which magical traditions the film version of Doom is working with, but in the comics, this tells you everything about Victor's relationship with forbidden knowledge. He does not consider anything off limits. You cannot simply counter Doom with technology, because he has magic. You cannot simply counter his magic with science because he has technology, and he has spent his entire life making sure those two things talk to each other in ways that nobody else understands. Pick a lane? Victor doesn't pick a lane. Victor owns the entire road. Let's zoom out for a second, because this is where your fight Doom plan stops being a superhero confrontation and starts being a geopolitical incident. Doctor Doom is the ruler of Latveria, a whole country with borders, with soldiers, with surveillance systems and weapons facilities, and a national infrastructure that exists entirely under his control. He has an army, he has defensive installations, he has laboratories developing technologies that most nations can only dream about. Most supervillains have a lair. Doom has a country. Think about what that actually means. You're not breaking into someone's evil headquarters with a floor plan and some bolt cutters. You are effectively invading a sovereign nation whose head of state happens to be one of the most intelligent and dangerous people alive. You have international law to consider. You have national defenses to consider. You have the entire Latvian military combined with Doombots, combined with advanced weapons that Victor designed personally. And Doom isn't just in some bunker sweating. He's in a castle watching you and taking notes. Now, what if Doom decides that being king of a small European nation isn't quite enough? He's had that thought before. At various points in the comics, Victor has helped himself to power sets that were never designed for him. He stole the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer. He has attempted to manipulate cosmic cube energy. He has gone after sources of power that operate at Galactus level scales. Not because he needed them in the moment, but because Doom doesn't think in terms of what he currently needs. Doom thinks in terms of what he should have. There is no upper ceiling to his ambition. If he encounters something more powerful than himself, his first instinct isn't self-preservation, it's acquisition. He wants to understand it. He wants to control it. And if understanding and controlling aren't on the table, he wants to take it for himself. This mentality reaches its absolute reality-defying peak in Secret Wars. The multiverse is collapsing. Not one universe, all of them. Incursions are smashing realities into each other. The Beyonders, entities of incomprehensible power, are orchestrating the entire destruction. Earth's greatest heroes are running out of options. The problem is literally too big for any individual or team to solve. So Doom solved it. Victor, alongside Molecule Man, went after the Beyonders themselves. He killed them, he absorbed their power, and then, with the remnants of a shattered multiverse as his raw material, he built Battleworld. A patchwork planet assembled from the surviving fragments of destroyed realities, stitched together and ruled by Victor Von Doom, who at that point in the story is not a supervillain or a monarch or even a sorcerer. He's a god. We started this video talking about a man in a metal suit who grew up poor in Latveria, and now he's ruling over a patchwork multiverse wearing the power of the Beyonders. Take a moment and let that land. Come back to the present, because Doom doesn't stop. After Bloodhunt tore through Marvel's world, Doctor Strange made a decision that would either go down as the most reasonable or the most catastrophic call in Marvel history, depending on your perspective. Strange gave Doom the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme. The logic was that the world needed protection from a vampire crisis, and Strange believed Doom was capable, which, to be fair, he was. What Strange perhaps underestimated was that Doom would do much more with the authority he once had. One World Under Doom begins with Victor accepting the role of Sorcerer Supreme, and then, with the kind of logical escalation that makes complete sense once you understand who he is, declaring himself Emperor of the World. Not asking, declaring. And here's the part that should absolutely terrify you. It worked. Earth's government seemingly accepted his rule, not because they were physically defeated, because Doom is smart enough to know that the most efficient form of control is the kind people convince themselves they chose. He used politics, he used public fear, he used the perception of stability, he used the combination of scientific credibility and magical authority to make himself look like the only option. And then Reed Richards. Reed Richards, arguably one of the best equipped people on the planet to understand Doom, tried to find a way to counter him by learning magic. Reed failed. The most extraordinary scientific mind on Earth stepped outside his entire field of expertise to understand Doom, and it wasn't enough, because Doom had already been living at the intersection of science and magic for decades. Doom was at home in both worlds when Reed was still trying to get his passport stamped. And now we get to the part where all of that context crashes directly into what's coming to theaters on December 18th, 2026, Avengers Doomsday. Robert Downey Jr. returns to the MCU, not as Tony Stark, but as Victor Von Doom. The official July 2026 trailer brings together Thor, the X-Men, Steve Rogers, the Fantastic Four, and the New Avengers, all converging around a multiversal conflict with Doctor Doom at its center. Marvel didn't build to this slowly. They spent months dropping targeted teasers, one by one, each showing a different corner of the Marvel universe, realizing that something enormous was coming. Steve Rogers with a child, Thor with his adopted daughter Love, the Fox X-Men making their MCU debut, the Wakandans meeting the Fantastic Four. By the time the full trailer arrived, the message was unmistakable. This isn't one team assembling. This is every team assembling, because one of them wasn't enough. Now let's talk about Thor. Thor is not a benchmark you deploy lightly. He is an Asgardian god who has survived battles that should have ended him multiple times. He went toe-to-toe with Thanos at full power. He was the person who came closer than anyone to ending the Infinity Saga in one blow. And Stormbreaker, the weapon he's carrying into this fight, was specifically designed to be powerful enough to kill a Thanos-level threat. In the trailer, Thor promises that Doom will be begging for help before he grants it. Then he swings Stormbreaker at Doom, and Doom blocks it, before blasting Thor away with a beam of green energy. One finger. His actual physical hand catches the axe that was engineered to cut through Infinity Gauntlet level power. What kind of opponent makes Thor look like he brought a knife to a nuclear war? Now, the film hasn't explained exactly how that works. Is it the armor? Is it the magic? Is it some combination of both? We don't know yet. And honestly, that's the worst part. That's the problem with fighting Doom. You don't even know which rulebook you're supposed to be playing by. Professor Xavier says in the trailer, something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we will be faced with an unthinkable decision. From Professor Xavier, the man who spent his entire life believing that humanity is capable of finding a better way, is now describing a scenario that might not have a better way. Thor says going into this fight that they're going to need a miracle. Thor, the man who is the miracle most of the time, he's asking for one. Steve Rogers has made a choice. He'd lived his life, stepped away, and found something quiet and personal and earned. The first teaser showed Steve with a child, a peaceful life. The multiversal crisis is apparently large enough to pull him back from that. When the man who already gave everything once feels compelled to give it again, you pay attention to what he's giving it against. The X-Men are present for this. Their school, their world, apparently devastated. Heroes from completely different universes suddenly sharing the same space and not necessarily trusting each other immediately. There's footage of Gambit and Shang-Chi in direct conflict. Because when realities collide, the confusion hits the heroes first. Doom benefits from that confusion. Of course he does. Victor would have planned for it. And then there are the Sentinels. The X-Men have been fighting mutant hunting machines for decades. They are, for that team, a deeply personal and traumatic enemy. The machines built specifically to hunt and destroy people like them. The latest trailer ends with Doom raising a legion of Sentinels and announcing, "Hell answers to me, for I am Doom." He has taken one of mutant kind's most painful historical traumas and turned it into part of his army. Science? Check. Army? Check. Magic? Clearly. Multiverse? Absolutely involved. Thor? Already stopped with one hand. Reed Richards? Standing directly in his path. The X-Men's worst nightmare? Now under his command. Let's come back to you, standing there, somehow still upright after everything. You survived the armor, you figured out the Doombots, you found a counter to his energy weapons, you even started to get a read on his fighting style. You're exhausted. You're probably bleeding from several places, but you're still in it. And then he starts using magic. You're not trained for that. Nobody warned you about the magic. You push through. You find something that slows it down. Maybe you pull off something genuinely miraculous and you make it out of Latveria. You escape an entire country that was trying to kill you. You catch your breath. And then someone tells you that Doom has already spoken to 3 world governments, that his narrative is being presented as an act of defense against your aggression, and that the political ground has been shifting underneath you the whole time. You ignore the politics. You track him down. You corner him, for real this time. This isn't a Doombot. This is Victor. He takes off the mask. And he's smiling. Because the mask was never the real problem. The mask is just iron. The real problem is the face underneath it. The mind, the obsession, the absolute refusal to accept that someone else should be more powerful, more knowledgeable, more worthy of authority than Victor Von Doom. He tells you very calmly that he's been watching you this entire time, that everything you threw at him taught him something, that the countermeasures are already designed. This is why fighting Dr. Doom sucks more than fighting almost any other villain in existence. Against Hulk, you prepare for strength. Against Thor, you prepare for divine power. Against the sorcerer, you prepare for magic. Against a genius, you prepare for technology. Against a dictator, you prepare for an army. Against a cosmic being, you prepare for overwhelming force. Against Doom, you prepare for all of them at the same time. His greatest superpower isn't the armor. It isn't the sorcery. It isn't the time machines or the Doombots or the army or the throne or any individual thing in his arsenal. It's the combination, the relentless, obsessive, lifelong accumulation of every possible advantage built on a foundation of genius that refuses to acknowledge a ceiling, powered by an ambition that doesn't recognize a limit, defended by a pride that has never once genuinely entertained the idea that Victor Von Doom could be wrong. Fighting Dr. Doom isn't one boss battle. It's an entire video game where the boss keeps unlocking new phases, and every time you think you've cleared the level, you discover there was another level underneath it the whole time. Good luck, you're going to need considerably more than a miracle. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button, and tell me in the comments who you'd like us to talk about next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.